Welcome to Cax Bar and Podcast, Canada's first podcast bar. What that means is you can come here for food, you can come here for drinks, you can also come here and record a podcast. Come on down, we're located in downtown Calgary, Alberta in the Beltline area. See you soon. And we're rolling here today with Jack Hoskins. Jack is a comedian. He's also a lawyer.
Yeah.
And Jack, he was on one of the Cax comedy post show comedy podcasts like months back.
Yeah, almost like a year ago.
Was it a year ago already?
Yeah, Yanni was on there. Chris L.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Yeah. So that one was brief, and we basically just goofed around on that one. But this one's more intimate here. We're getting to know Jack. Jack also is in the process of doing some filming for his own like lawyer related stuff for a podcast as well.
Yeah, some clips.
Yeah, exactly. Hey Jack, do you want to just tell people a little bit about yourself first? You know, like where you're from, you know, a little origin story.
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Toronto and lived in Ontario till I was about 12. Then I eventually moved to BC and just kind of grew up there. My teens and early 20s. Victoria and then Salt Spring Island.
Okay. Salt Springs Island?
Salt Spring Island.
Okay. I've
never
heard of that. No.
Oh, it's you should go there if you ever get the chance. Yeah. It's one of the Gulf Islands and it's an interesting place. It's just full of hippies and kombucha.
Okay.
Weird elixirs with turmeric.
All right. Yeah.
A lot of witches, a lot of goat ceremonies and stuff. You'll be walking your dog and you just see a goat skull with some incense.
Actually?
Incense. Oh, no. Off to a great start here. Yes. Freudian slip. Incense in a forest. It's...
Okay. Is this kind of where Shambhala happens?
I think it's close.
Okay,
it's within the same vicinity.
Okay.
But a lot of the people that go to Shambhala also go and hang out at Salt Spring for a weekend after that. You know, it's a fun little place. Living there is a bit different because...
What's the population there?
Oh, I don't know what it is now. When I lived there, it was like 3,000 in the winter, and then it went up to like 10,000 in the summer because of the tourists.
That's still small.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were so that's where you. Okay. So you're like would a lot of your childhood is from there?
Well, like early childhood is Toronto, and then like early 20s and stuff was there because my mom lived there, and then I'd go stay with her over the summer when I worked at BC Ferries. Did that for like 6 years. And then eventually, you know how BC is. It's expensive. I didn't really see a future there. So I moved to Alberta and 2019. And I've just been here ever since.
How old are you, bro?
I'm 30.
30. Okay. So 29. Okay. So only 5 years you've been.
Yeah. Feels like way longer, but yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Well, fuck. Well, welcome. Welcome to glad to have you.
Oh yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, no,
we're all coming to invade you guys.
Yeah, not more the merrier, I guess, as long as we fix this housing crisis.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, no. No, BC has always had that too, right? So, but now we're kind of becoming that, I guess, just how expensive everything's getting. And
yeah, well, that's the scary thing. Is Calgary going to become the next Vancouver? Most of my friends don't think so because it's just never going to be as appealing climate-wise. But I don't know. It's the pessimist in me. I think it might happen.
Yeah,
possibly.
Well, yeah, but you're a pretty smart guy. I mean, you're a lawyer, so like, is it just an economic eventuality, if you will?
I think it really comes down to just how desirable this place is to live, and there are a few factors that play into that. Like there's the climate, obviously, and just how nice it is to walk around the city, and it's a pretty clean, pretty livable city. Compared to a lot of places I've been before. Yeah. And then the other thing is affordability, which is pretty quickly going away. So I think that's going to stabilize, and the rush of people moving here is probably going to die off.
Right. Or, okay. Yeah. But like, I mean, it's expensive everywhere right now in Canada.
It is. Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're damned in every place. Well, except for if you move to, like just areas that were traditionally not packed before, like those are like, but so that's probably going to, I don't know, even out the country's population like pockets, I think, because like so many people I know all of a sudden are like they're moving to like Halifax and stuff like that, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying anything wrong with Halifax,
No.
but in the past, I don't think I've ever heard that would be like a spot, you know.
Yeah.
Like to me, you've always had this like quirky personality, and I think you recognize that a little bit. Yeah. So like, do you think that's a result of Salt Spring?
It's a result of Salt Spring, family mental illness, a lot of things.
Family mental illness. I also remember like some of the details from our other podcasts, like almost a year ago now, is coming back to me. Yeah, it used to be huge, right?
Yeah, I used to weigh 350 pounds.
Holy fuck! Yeah, can you refresh my memory on that whole thing? Like you were.
I mean,
how'd you get that huge?
Well, it was, without going into too much detail, I was going through a bad time in my life. I was like 13, 14, and there are a few ways to cope when you're going through something like that. Some people turn to drugs and alcohol. Other people turn to food. And I already loved food anyway. And then suddenly I really love food. And
13, 14. Hey,
yeah.
Jesus.
And the thing is too, like my family, my mom was always in pretty good shape. She ran marathons, but my dad, no one ever really taught me how to eat well. Like I didn't understand what carbs were and protein or calories. So I just kind of ate whatever I felt like. It's called intuitive eating now. And
so sugar, because it tastes the best.
Sugar and just lots of meat, like sandwiches with 2 little pieces of bread and then just this much meat.
Okay, but that's, I don't know, like that. But eating that much protein doesn't necessarily, make you fat. Because that's. I mean, I from what I understand, like it's the carbs that turn into the fat that's not used. I mean,
I think there's some debate about that. I mean, I spent years researching this to figure out how to not be fat, and then it finally clicked when I realized you can't just do it by exercising.
Yeah.
You just have to eat less, which is so obvious once you accept that. But you play all these games with yourself, and you go into denial, and that can last like 10 years. But so. Yeah, protein. I don't think protein is as bad for weight gain, but I do think it is just the calories.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know, because like bodybuilders just waft down loads of protein and everything like that, but they're also working out a bunch, so the protein's turning into muscle or converting to the proper usage there. Yeah, like how? Okay, sorry, I'm fascinated with this part. How often were you eating at 13, 14? Because were you working already? How are you paying for all this food?
My parents had money; they could afford endless food back then.
Oh, your folks were loaded.
Yeah, they were before the 2008 financial crisis. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. What did they do?
So they founded. My dad was like an Apple computer salesman in the 80s, and then eventually he and my mom started this company where they would just resell used Apple computers to people. And this was like early 90s, back when most people couldn't necessarily afford a new Apple computer, but a lot of people still wanted one in their life, and a used one was substantially cheaper. So they just got in at the right moment and made a ton of money.
So they were computer dealers.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, they had a store in Toronto. We used to get all these famous people in, like 50 Cent, Margaret Atwood, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Sonic Youth.
Oh, fuck.
It was wild.
Okay, sweet, man. And do you have siblings, man?
I've got a brother and a sister.
Okay, so how old are they, like, compared to you?
I think my brother, he turned 25 this year, and then my sister, she's 22 now.
22. Okay, 25, 21. Okay, so you're the oldest.
Yeah.
All right. And then okay, but just backpedaling here, like at 13, 14, like your parents just always had food because you guys were loaded, I guess. So like how often were you eating? Like, I mean,
like every free moment I had.
You're just constantly just waffling shit.
Oh yeah.
Like was it pizza pops, or was it like chips? Was it like Slurpees? Was it like what you said, super huge sandwiches? So
yeah.
So like just like loads of deli meat, I take it, like packed in there with like just mayo and shit like that.
Yeah, deli meat, chips.
Okay.
Crispy minis, cookies.
Dude, how tall were you?
I'm the same. I've been the same height now. I'm 6'3". I've been 6'3" since I was 12.
6'3" since you were 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 350 with a 6'3". Yeah, man, you were just a huge fucking dude at 14. Yeah. Like in school, you must have been just like that guy, I guess.
Oh yeah. I was like a planet.
I don't know. Well, you're funny dude too. So like, were you the funny fat guy?
Like kind of. I mean, it took a while to like find my voice and
Yeah.
be funny. Like, because trying to be funny in front of people you don't know,
Yeah.
you know, you get used to it when you do stand up, and you get used to it not working.
Yeah.
And now I can just bomb in front of 200 people and not feel a thing.
Yeah.
But back then, you know, you're in high school, you're insecure. You know, like I was less hesitant to just kind of open mic random people in the hallway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when I got comfortable with people, I could be funny, but yeah, and my humor was not as developed as it is now.
Okay. How'd you decide you wanted to do stand up? Like,
You know, it was during the pandemic, actually.
mhm.
I wish I had started it earlier, but when I was younger, I thought stand-up was just Dane Cook. Like, I didn't know it could be good.
Yeah.
It took a long time to realize that. Like, I knew about George Carlin, but I'd never seen his, like, funny stand-up. I'd only ever seen his rants, and those are good in their own way, but his early stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, like, I didn't know about Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't really even know about stand up in a weird way. Like,
I didn't know about the good stuff until the
Okay.
pandemic, and then
Huh.
I don't know. I just
it just wasn't really your world. It sounds
no.
Okay.
I was way more of a music guy, and I still kind of am. Like,
Okay.
if there's one thing in life that I definitely should have done differently, it was I should have started a band as young as possible.
What kind of music do you like?
Metal.
Metal? Okay.
Yeah, metal, techno,
Techno,
hip hop.
sweet. Do you like punk rock? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Blink-182 and stuff like that?
Blink-182.
That's like my favorite band.
Actually,
Oh yeah, I love Blink-182.
I can like respect them for what they are. It
Yeah.
sounds kind of Christian to me in some weird way.
They're not though. Like,
I know.
like, you know? Yeah, well, a lot of punk rock is like religious, like style, you know, but not them. No.
Have you ever heard of a band called Boys Night Out?
No.
Oh, you should listen to them. They're kind of like Blink-182, but they're Canadian and they're more emo.
Okay. Yeah. I do like emo music for whatever reasons. Like,
I love.
I just the sound anyway. You know, I can't really relate to a lot of it.
Yeah.
but that's like any music. I mean, because everyone listens to hip hop. It's not like we can relate to a lot of the gangster rap. It just sounds cool. You know, like it. Like the melodies and beats and tones and whatever, you know. So
It's funny. Like my girlfriend and her friends are super into gangster rap, and she has like the literal face of calling the police. It is like the most bizarre thing to watch.
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
Oh well, they're just really white.
Okay, yeah, like as white girl as they yeah. Well, I know that. Well, even Tupac mentioned that at some point. He was like, when he was really blown up way back in the day, he's like a lot of my I make a lot of my money from white folks listening to my hip hop, not people from his actual like background. Yeah. Okay, but cruising along here, you're actually super interested in music, but how did that, like, do you just one day, like I'm still trying to piece together how you got into comedy, you know? During the pandemic, you're like, you know, I'm just gonna try stand up. Like,
well, the pandemic was rough because I moved here fall of 2019 for law school, and then immediately, like the next semester, I just am alone in a basement suite, and it kind of messed with my head. Like I did my classes virtually, and I just had no one to talk to except for like the couple of good friends I made from law school in 6 months, and I had nothing to do apart from class, so I just watched a lot of YouTube videos, and then stand-up podcasts were really blowing up around that time, so I discovered like Tim Dillon, Ari Shaffir. Tim Dillon is my ultimate.
Oh man, that guy's so fucking good.
The consistency.
Yeah.
And for a while there, like
His rants are just epic.
For a while there, like every podcast was a stand-up special. It was amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's and his story is pretty interesting because like didn't Tim Dillon go completely like broke because he got in a couple like mortgage kerfuffles, if you will.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he was a mortgage broker in right before the 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah, like he keeps like talking about subprime mortgages, and like, you know, like I'm a homeowner, but sometimes I'm like, I'm like, what the fuck is that again? You know, like
I think it's been a while. I think those are just mortgages where the person borrowing really has a very low chance of paying them back.
Yeah.
And those mortgages were just getting traded between investment firms. who all either knew or ought to have known that they were all going to be defaulted on at some point. And then when the default started, that started this chain reaction that led to the financial crisis.
Right. Yeah, because the entire bubble was essentially too many people who can't afford homes got approved to buy homes.
Yeah.
And because of is this like just some kind of short-term thinking by the banks?
It is,
We just need money now in an influx, knowing later, people aren't going to be able to keep up with it or whatever. Like,
basically,
what was the game plan? Or was it always intentional to like cause a financial crash due to supervillains in the background plotting this? Or something?
I don't think it's intentional. I just think like they just didn't care, or they just didn't think about that. Like it's weird to think that like people who should be smart and rational would do something like this, but it's some kind of psychological thing. You're just not thinking about
literally like two steps ahead. How it makes no sense. Yeah. That's just some classic human nature, like wackiness. It seems,
Yeah, and it's scary, the fact that in a society we're all dependent on each other in some way. This is something that messes with my head sometimes. Like, I know you can't change it. I can't go live in a cave. That wouldn't make my life better. But probably not. Seen Into the Wild. I saw how that turned out for him.
Yeah. Okay, but go on. I'm very fascinated with this.
Well, yeah, it's like we all kind of depend on each other to a degree. You depend on your doctor. You depend on your accountant, your lawyer, whoever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, like big time. We don't know how everything works. Like, we just know the things that we know, and like every day we're relying on someone else. Like, do I know how to make this from scratch? This microphone when I want to get into podcasting, and then I need Amazon, and then But anyway, go on.
Yeah, but and then when things don't work out, like you relied on someone for something and it just doesn't pan out, and you're worse off. I always think like, oh God, why do I have to rely on people? But you just do. It's just one of those things in life. And I think, like sometimes that leads to something like a financial crisis, because you're just part of this system. You need to invest your money. You need.
Okay. But I mean the fascinating thing about this topic is like you're right. If what you said is correct, then people are so bizarre then, because they don't think literally something that's going to come real fast. Like, it's like, hey man, like don't I don't know, like don't eat that, because you will increase your chance of getting whatever, cancer or something, and and then he eats it, and then he gets surprised when he gets cancer or something.
See, I can relate to that one more than the subprime mortgages. I've been there.
I've
had many doctors tell me like, dude, you're gonna die in 10 years if you keep this up, and I'm like, that's a fair point.
Yeah. Hey, well, when that happened, why is it because you were like, I don't believe it. It's like it'll work itself out. Like there's no way that can happen to me. Was it that thought process, or what was it?
It was more like this weird kind of delusional hope. If I just run enough, I'm going to lose all this weight. If I just bench press, it's going to go. It made no sense. But, I was like 23.
Yeah.
When I was 24, I started to lose the weight because I was reading studies and all this stuff, watching YouTube videos, just trying to find an answer. And I had read a lot of articles saying that exercise is a pretty small piece of the pie and you just have to eat less. And I just physically couldn't stop myself.
Yeah, you were addicted at that point.
And there were a lot of...
And you formed like literally habits of eating. Like your body probably prepared for more food to come in at certain times of the day. But keep going. Like them.
Yeah, there were sort of like, I think, emotional reasons. And then at 24, I forget, I don't even know what happened exactly. It was, it was kind of it wasn't the best year either. And I was just kind of feeling like a little down. And for some reason that gave me the strength to just completely cut my eating in half.
The feeling down, dude?
I think so. I think
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you were down, like you're feeling low, depressed, and then instead of finding vices, you just double down on not succumbing to your vices.
Well, I think part of it was like just age and maturity. Like I had more maturity than I had at like 18, 19. And the other part was that time when I was feeling down, food didn't do anything to help. Like I didn't even want to eat. So for some reason I could just completely, I was still eating way too much, but I lost like 70 pounds in that year, I think.
Yeah, I bet you like when you first start to shed the weight, you should probably shed a big chunk real fast. Yeah. It just started like the water, the whatever.
Yeah.
And then it slowly probably it was harder to get into that next hill there.
Oh yeah, and now like I'm trying to get rid of the last bit, just go full Brad Pitt and Fight Club, and it is taking like an eternity.
Well, you obviously work out now.
Too. Oh yeah.
Like I see some muscle definition and everything like that. Yeah, no, I'm a fan of the training. I work out myself.
Oh yeah.
Like those periods where you said you felt down, like are you saying you had like depression or?
Yeah, like a little bit.
Okay.
Just
and like bear with me. How does I notice a lot of comedians are like also depressed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like what and they almost find like they find their path into comedy from that as well. So it's kind of odd. But anyway, how it was a pandemic that you started to do like watch a bunch of stand up and everything like that. But again, like I'm getting confused here. Like did you know you were funny too, or like what, or quirky, or how'd you surmise like, okay, like I gotta do this now. I gotta do stand up here.
It's funny. Like people always told me I was funny, but I wasn't sure if that was just like true as a rule or just I was funny to that person and that person. So
would you make yourself laugh? Like,
I don't remember making myself laugh much when I was younger. Now I do. Now comedy, there's a weird narcissistic side to comedy where sometimes like I'll be talking to my girlfriend and I'll say something so funny to me that I'm laughing at it later when I'm alone. And it's like, what am I turning into? And then, you say it on stage in front of a bunch of people and it doesn't work at all because the context that made it funny is gone.
Yeah. I can be a really silly guy, and but when I'm acting silly, like it puts a smile on my face because I realize how ridiculous I'm being, So, but again, I don't know again if that parlays to being funny to do stand up,
I mean, I think the difference is like context is so important to humor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I never realized this until I started doing stand-up. Like things that are funny to my friends most of the time will not be funny at all to a group of people. Mm-hmm. And like, I've got a really weird family. So like a lot of stuff that I just tell people about my childhood that sound like is completely normal to me. That's how I grew up. Mm-hmm. They just hear that and they're like, what? Yeah. And some of that stuff, it does really well on stage.
Like what? Give me an example.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Okay, this isn't really a childhood thing, but I had a friend once who we were like close friends, and one time he met this girl and he was telling me about her, and he's like, I think I'm in love. I think she's the perfect girl for me. She's just like you, but female. What am I supposed to say to that?
Yeah. You're like, wait, so you wanted to have sex with me the whole time?
It's like, so I asked him, like, is this, do you really want her or do you want me? And yeah, I have a whole bit about this that I haven't totally worked out yet. Yeah. But he basically explained that there's something called a Kinsey scale, which is like a scientific test for whether you lean more on the homosexual side or the heterosexual side. And he got a perfect heterosexual score. So it's rare you meet someone who can defend their position that easily.
Okay. Is this like a multiple choice test? Because I really should take a look at that too.
Oh, you can do it online. I think I got like 2 out of 6. And I've only...
So 2 out of 6 straight?
No, 2 out of 6 gay.
Okay. So you're almost gay.
I don't know. Like I've never been, I can tell when a man is attractive, but I've always wanted to date.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's like you wonder like what was this guy going through to come up with this test?
I don't know. Like I gotta see this test because I'm like I got to decide whether or not I critically agree with like this has got to be the way to find out if you're gay or whatever, like is it, like I mean, like because there's so many ways to test that. You can literally throw a cock in front of your face and just see how close you can put it to your mouth and see, like the closer it goes to your mouth and you don't like squirm means you're like not gay because you're so comfortable, or like see there's already a botch thing. Or it means you're gay.
It's ambiguous
because any second you can just like just go in and start blowing that thing, right? So like I don't know, like I mean, like yeah, like I would imagine you would have to test that theory out in some way like that, not questionnaire, you know.
Yeah, well, a lot of people would want to try that though. That's the problem.
Yeah. Oh man, what was fuck, that was on Family Guy, man. Like um, yeah, the bit was I forget. I remember laughing. It was like it's like you know, like do you enjoy Cher or like another musician, and then they're going down this to like determine who if you're gay or not.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a question like we all have at some point. Like I thought about it. I'm like, okay, where do I really stand? And you know, then you decide.
Yeah. Wait. No, you don't get to decide.
Well, just
you
like
discover.
you discover. You discover. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the that's the main argument of the whole thing is that you're born like you know like like, you know gay, right?
But sometimes it takes you a while to figure out how you were born. Like that's the thing. You know, I know some people it took them till their 40s. Just got
to find out that they're gay.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a sad thing, like that lost time.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that you know, like when you whatever saw a dude naked on the internet, and he would right there be like, "Yo, I'm into that."
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. Like you kind of know if you're gay or not. Like I would imagine. You know?
I think it might be partly like a denial thing. The way that I was in denial about how to lose weight, and then the second you like accept the truth, just boom,
yeah, right to Twisted Element.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. I don't know. We kind of got sidetracked there.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wanted to ask about like the journey to comedy?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I do. Yeah. See, this is what I mean by the silliness. You just kind of like, yeah.
No, it's cool. It's a good
I'm going
thing.
to tidy this part up on when I'm editing,
fair.
make it digestible.
That's fair.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I'm like, Flake, you just talked about being politically correct, so I don't know.
No, it's all, you know what?
Cross the line on that one here, but
no, I mean all.
I think we're good.
I'm not well known in anything. It just
yeah. Hey,
no,
the plan is to grow this thing to be well known. That's the vision. Anyway.
Oh no, like you. I'm not saying you're not. I'm like I'm just.
Yeah. Okay, but keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, like after the pandemic, you know, and things finally opened up again. I was just in my final year of law school and just finishing that up, and then it's called articling. It's kind of like an apprenticeship where you're kind of like a lawyer, but not really. You're not liable. You're
a Padawan. Would use Star Wars.
You're a Padawan. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fighting those little robot things that shoot a laser at your lightsaber.
Your master or whatever.
Yeah.
Even that word Padawan sounds gay. Like, can you just say like, you know, like I don't know, whatever. Like here's my second, or like Padawan. You know, it's like like I don't know. Just imagine them being like, all right, like Padawan, like throw on this tank top, you know, like let's get to work. Like, could you imagine like Star Wars is the same except Obi-Wan's just wearing like a wife beater, like you know when he's in like you know the Phantom Menace or whatever. Yeah, just tight blue jeans and a wife beater, and he's like, "Come on, Padawan," you know.
How are you funnier than me right now?
No. I'm just being silly.
No, it's good though.
Anyway, yeah.
I love when you become an adult and you realize how racist Star Wars was the whole time.
Oh my God, Jar Jar Binks, that was insanity. Yeah. Complete insanity. Yeah.
Well, like, did you see the Force Awakens? They go into the alien cantina bar and it's just reggae playing.
Yeah. But I can't believe it because like movies back then was racist. Like it's only kind of like the woke thing is pretty recent. You know?
But even like after that, they Star Wars still gets a pass sometimes.
How so? They're pretty diverse now, man.
They are pretty diverse. It's more subtle than it used to be. Mm-hmm. It's like the reggae and the alien scene in Force Awakens. You'll get like a bit of. You're right. It's a lot less so.
Yeah, I think it's completely cleaned up now. But you know, you go to classic Star Trek back then. I mean, it was like like the very first episode of Star Trek in the 1960s. People don't realize like it was one before William Shatner was Captain Kirk. They had Captain Pike,
Yeah.
and it shows Captain Pike like he was a. Well, I'm a big Star Trek guy, by the way, and Captain Pike's talking about he's like it's like a captain's log. It's like a start date, whatever. It's like crew is performing well. Women doing the women duties, like on the deck, like like, and I'm sitting there like, excuse me.
You remember the episode where a woman possesses Captain Kirk's body and she can't take over the ship because her womanness, like.
I don't remember this.
Oh,
yeah, I can't say I've seen every Star Trek. Like,
okay,
I've seen a bunch of Star Treks. But there's so many out there. But I'm a fan. Like if it's on, I'll go on my way to look for classic episodes just to pass an hour sometimes. But anyway, go on. Like
I binged them all like a few years ago, and yeah, there's an episode where one of Kirk's ex-lovers wanted to be a starship captain and she couldn't pass the training or something because she's a woman. So she found some way to insert her soul into Captain Kirk, and then she tried to pretend to be him, but she kept getting too emotional and she couldn't run the ship. And
okay, this is from this is obviously one of the 1960s.
Yeah,
right. Okay, I gotta look this up right away.
It's. Have you ever seen the animated 60s show?
I've seen some of it. Yeah.
That one is glorious because the special effects limitations aren't there.
Yeah.
Like there's one where a guy creates an army of giant Spocks to take over the world.
What a ridiculous storyline there. I don't know. I also appreciated that show because of like just the original one. Like there was a lot of historical stuff, man. Like what was like Spock and Kirk end up in some situation where some alien was able to bring back like it's like this is Earth's 4 like most cruel people in history, and then like Genghis Khan, like Alexander the Great, and like and I'm sitting there like, whoa, I'm like learning about history as I'm watching fucking Star Trek here.
There's a lot of history in that show. Like, did you ever see the episode where they go to the alien planet and it's just like post War of Independence U.S.?
No, was this a Kirk one again?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. They have their own Declaration of Independence, but they're aliens, and it's just like the U.S. in the 1770s. It's bizarre.
Okay, I know. I should check those out. I appreciate that show. I fucking love it.
What do you think of the Next Generation?
Love it. Love TNG. Love it. Did you see the Picard series?
No, is it good?
Yeah. Oh, season 3 is good.
Okay.
Season 1 is just good because it's Captain Picard, but it doesn't have a true Star Trek feel to it. And then number 2 as well didn't have exactly like season 2 wasn't. It was almost like what do you call it? I don't know. It just wasn't really Star Trek-ish. It felt more like Blade Runner.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was so character driven. Now don't get me wrong, the characters are important, but Star Trek part of it is the ships, right?
Yeah.
Like supposed to, and then by part 3 it was just that whole last season was just a love letter to Picard. Like it was just, I don't want to give away too much because it's like you should watch it. It's like such a pleasant surprise, and such a fun ending. Yeah. Anyway, man, we got sidetracked into Star Trek.
Oh, it's all good, man. I love talking about Star Trek.
Fuck yeah.
Like the movies, I'm just gonna keep going. You got me on a tangent here.
Yeah.
The movies are interesting because like never before have we ever seen so much elderly representation in mainstream movies. Like they're all 187 by the end of those movies.
And with that ones with William Shatner.
Yeah, it's like they filmed a retirement home. It's insane that those things were.
Yeah. I love those, man. Did you list off the 6? Well, I guess 7.
6 ones. Okay, so the first one is like.
No, I know of all of them. But what's your favorite?
Well, my favorite is probably the 4th one.
Oh, the humpback
with the whales.
Yeah. That was super funny, man.
That was Wrath of Khan is good, but it didn't quite. There's still that kind of like slow, kind of Star Trek. It's not like action movies.
Yeah,
because the actors are all too elderly to do fights and stunts.
Yeah. But they, I don't know, the actions in the ship fights, right?
Like, that is true. There's a lot of shaking and Kirk's wobbling on his walker.
Yeah, a lot of doing this.
Yeah,
my chair is shaking.
The first one, The first one I want to enjoy more than I do because it's such a bizarre. It's like kinky 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, it's trippy, and it's super slow, super slow. Like when they're showing the Enterprise, like I mean, I get it. Like I got hard watching that. But I'm like other people are not going to get hard watching that.
No, I personally do not.
What's it called? Like Kirk himself, he's such a fascinating character, if you will, because he he literally he doesn't act, to me he doesn't have the personality of the actions that he does. Now what I mean by that is like basically if his actions literally scream all the time like I'm better than all of you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. And everything you guys like try to do doesn't matter to me. Like this manual of rules, fuck off. Like that's the way he should be basically talking, because he's always like he's stoic and like kind of like calm, if you will, talks like this, like like perfect pace and everything. But I just always find it fascinating because when people take a look at his actual actions, like he's such a renegade that yes, he saves the universe a bunch, but he also causes so much problems, so I don't know, like it's like I love it. Like I relate to Captain Kirk in many ways. I mean, what about Captain Picard? Like he's are you more of a Kirk guy or Picard guy?
I'm more of a Kirk guy. I mean, I never noticed what you just said. He does kind of behave like Han Solo and talk like I can't think of who, but
right? Like
it is
kinda,
different.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so snobby actually.
Yeah,
because it's like I don't know, but then again, maybe like back in the day, that is kind of how the whatever you call it, ruthless and crazy were, like in ancient Britain, England, right? Like because there was a period where everything was about manners and like being polite and proper, everyone had to dress, like rules of engagement where you have to signal with your glove to slap the guy, but really again your actions again are indicative of like I'm better than you, fuck you, you do as I say, you're my slave. But but they talk all like it's like gentlemen. It's like clearly must engage now with the barbarians or whatever, like talking to that little whatever, like sophisticated. They're just sophisticated thugs.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, maybe that's it. Like, yeah, because you'd think he'd be talking like John Wayne, but
yeah, or just like that prick you've seen in high school.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And another thing I noticed about Star Trek too, like the older series was like there's such a sexy vibe to it, like just the thought of being on a starship.
Yeah.
Like, but there wasn't that many hot women in the show. Like Uhura is supposed to be the hot girl, right? And like, don't get me wrong, like I love Uhura. Like she has a place in my heart because of like just the love for Star Trek. But I'm like, man, like what would this series have been like if there was like, like that, like those smoke shows on the new Strange New World.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, have you seen that series?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's so good, man. It's so good. You should that's what you should do with the rest of your days. Watch Strange New World.
I can do that.
Yeah. It's sweet. It's the most similar to the 1960s Star Trek show, but redone.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's about Captain Pike, obviously. And, yeah. But anyway, I kind of countered my own thought there. I was supposed to be like, there's not enough hot chicks in Star Trek, but I'm like, I just brought up Strange New Worlds, and there's like these rockets on that show. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a watch then. That's a pretty good recommendation.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what I like about the original Star Trek over TNG is it's just so trippy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so 60s.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you can see, even their uniforms and shit. Tight little one-piece skirts. I mean, yeah, but why not? If that's Captain Kirk running your ship, he's just like, all right, quickly, everyone, these are your new outfits. Spock, you're wearing one too. Whatever. Captain, can I get a longer skirt, please? The tip of my dick is showing.
Yeah, it doesn't work as well when he plays that character at like 67.
It was just different, I guess.
Yeah,
but by the time you saw the movies, you're like, whoa, like his hair is so different. I remember thinking that because I remember as a kid, I remember like loving the old hair, like the blonde.
Yeah,
the blonde hair, just I don't know, just looked cool. But then all of a sudden, I'm like, he has curly brown hair now. You know,
Yeah.
like that kind of threw me off. You know, he didn't look
Yeah.
like. But then again, they looked all different because the production at that point is completely changed. And I mean, the bridge on the ship is completely different from the bridge in the very original. And it's funny when they talk about the like in Deep Space Nine and TNG where they make references to the OG Enterprise, and then there's scenes like where they visit it in the holodeck and stuff, and you're like, oh wow, they're actually trying to blend this into canon as if like this is the same timeline of technology. You know what I mean? Because it's like it just looks so different, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Like they had the buttons weren't digital, like they were like clickety clack buttons. You're like, there's no fucking way. Like,
Yeah.
you talk about achieving warp drive when you still have clickety clack buttons, like for sure it would be like Minority Report style, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
No, it was impressive how they tried to like tie it all together.
Yeah.
Like even because the old one looks pretty dated now, and that's part of the charm.
Yeah. And to think back then when you saw it, like when our folks saw it, they're like, wow, like, yeah, which just shows you again like how little we know about like anything.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, like I want to switch back to you for a second.
Yeah.
We totally went off course there with Star Trek.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. Law school, bro. Like, you're a smart guy then.
On a good day.
Yeah, no, you're smart. You're literally a lawyer. How'd you decide you wanted to be a lawyer? And
I mean, it just kind of made sense because I was always good at reading and writing, and I wanted to do something that wasn't my old job on the ferry.
What was your old job?
Just serving food on a cafeteria and a boat.
Oh, right.
Which was nice because you'd have beautiful views. It's BC. I really liked the people I worked with, but I just didn't want to
do that forever.
No. And so it was like I'll become a captain or work in the engine room, or I'll go to law school. And I got in, and then I was like, you know what? I think I'd be happier doing this.
Isn't it hard to get into law school?
It is. Like and
you were always a great student, I take it.
Not in the beginning. I had to work really hard to make my grades in the second, third, and fourth year.
Okay.
Yeah, because I really wasn't ready for university when I first started. I don't know. Like, I wasn't like a serious student back then. I wasn't sure I wanted to go.
What university?
UVic.
Okay.
Yeah, because I live in Victoria.
Right. Okay, so within law, how'd you decide to do tax law? Because you're a tax law guy, right? Okay.
Well, I mean, it started with just not wanting to pay taxes, if I'm being honest. And then I started to look into it. I took tax law. I got a research assistant position, and I just started researching offshore tax havens and the different laws around those around the world, places like Samoa, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines.
Okay.
And I thought it was just really interesting. It was like, oh, this is what people do with their money. And
like, what do you mean by that? Like, just storing it not in Canadian banks, basically?
Yeah, just in an offshore trust.
Okay.
In a country like that with trust laws that are more conducive to saving your money and with lower taxes, and then you can pay that back to yourself in Canada if things go all right with a much lower tax rate.
Okay. So, what? I don't know. I maybe I'll ask you more of this off the air, or I don't know. I don't really get it. Like, what do you mean though? If you have a huge salary for a company, and then you have to report your income at the end of the year, you're like, because it sounds like a legal loophole way to not pay the tax. Like,
I mean, it is kind of a loophole, and there are many different ways to do it. I don't know about offshore stuff. Isn't my specialty because it's very risky.
Yeah.
Like, if it works out okay, your scheme, you have to come up with a scheme. Then you can save a lot of money on taxes. But if it doesn't work well, you get reassessed by the CRA, you get heavy penalties, and it's really, you end up paying way more than you would have if you had just not tried this in the first place.
This is just Canadian tax law?
We're talking about international now, because you're looking at Canadian tax law and just the tax law and the trust law of wherever you put the money. And what a lot of people do is they'll get paid in cash. They'll send that cash to another country. that'll get put in a trust that's held by somebody, a third party that this person trusts, and then there'll be a.
Can you when you say trust again, like pretend I'm completely
okay? Yeah, sorry.
I'm curious about that part. A trust. What is a trust? Like,
well, basically, a trust is
there's a bank, and then there's a trust in the bank. Like,
well, a trust is like a legal entity that you can, like the Rolling Stones are technically a trust. They're a band, but they're, and I haven't seen the trust deed. I'd love to understand how it all works. Same with the Sisters of Mercy, one of my favorite bands. And the way a trust works is you have a couple of different types of people associated with the trust. First, you have the trustee, and that's the person who manages whatever money or assets are held in the trust, and they can give some of that to one of the beneficiaries. The beneficiaries are the people that the trustee manages the assets for. So depending on what the rules are about that particular trust, they get, maybe all the assets get paid out to the beneficiaries when they reach 21. Maybe it's just held there forever and it's at the trustee's discretion to give money to the beneficiaries. Stop me if I'm like,
no, I'm literally paying attention.
Okay, good. If any of this is unclear, but and then there's
I'll chop this pot up. So we're talking about Star Trek and the trust.
Sounds good.
Yeah, people are, wow, this thing is random as fuck.
Random is my MO. But then there's the settler, and that was the person who had the asset before they put it in the trust. And sometimes the trustee can be the settler and the beneficiary at the same time. So that's basically a trust.
And a trust has to the entity itself is within a bank.
It doesn't have to be within a bank, but the trust will generally have a bank account.
Yeah,
and that's where the money is stored if some of the assets are money. And then if you're going to distribute some of that to the beneficiaries, it would usually be paid from that bank account to whatever their bank account is.
So like back in the day when Pablo Escobar had a bunch of cash and he wasn't keeping it in American banks, he was physically keeping it in banks down in like these islands or whatever. It's like within those offshore banks, like a trust is just like a file in the bank that's like this belongs to, like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is like those offshore banks, what's protecting them from not getting, like not enforced or robbed or whatever, because they're kind of like an outside entity almost, right?
Well,
that's the way it sounds to me anyway.
I mean, that is more of a risk in, say, like a small tax haven island. Like you probably don't have the same legal protections that you would have in Canada, and you don't have the same kind of law enforcement and investigative capabilities. So if you lose money over there, you are less likely to get it back than in Canada. But I think, like, when you're talking about trusts and banks, I think the thing that people always they always get associated, because a lot of the time a bank also can also be a trust company, so you can hire someone to be the trustee from a bank, but they are separate things. It's just often when you get a trust, you have to hire someone. They get a percentage of the assets or a salary, and that'll be someone from the bank whose job is just to be a trustee for a bunch of people.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna segue out of that right here, because I think I'm a little bit out of my element.
No, it's all good. Sorry.
Understanding all of that in its entirety here. Every day I'm learning, man, as far as, even being a business owner, it's not like there's a lot of learn as you go, because it's just the way it goes, man.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Are you super like interested in your career? Did you as you became a lawyer, would you I actually love doing this, or is it more like you're like, as the way you explained earlier, you said, why not do this, kind of like?
It started as a why not thing, and then eventually I grew into it more and started to enjoy it more. It all depends on finding like an area that works for you. Like I started doing immigration law, and that just wasn't for me. And then
you found out you were pseudo racist, or no?
Exactly, yeah. I was like, I'm helping the enemy. No, no. It's just it's very formulaic. Like you're doing the same things over and over again. like more power to people that enjoy doing that. It's just not for me. So after that, I tried a few different things. I like employment law because I've had a lot of different jobs over the years, from just day labor, temp jobs, to being a lawyer, to union jobs where I work on the ferries, and it's all about safety and covering your ass.
Yeah.
So I can relate to employees quite a bit and empathize with them, and that helps me. Like, whatever your job is, I worked in a shampoo factory once. Like, I've done a lot of stuff. So I feel like that gives me an edge. I can just relate to clients more, and I can...
Shampoo factory. Eh?
Yeah.
Like, where, like, obviously I've seen shampoo being sold on shelves, but like, I was like, I just always have this idea that whenever you use the word factory, it's like, I have such a goofy mind. Sometimes I literally imagine like, dun, 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 like a chain. I see you just like screwing on lids, or they're like, you're like over there like lathering your hair, and you're like thumbs up to the guy, you're like lathering your hair. I'm like, what does he do at this shampoo factory?
Well, okay, so
it's just picture like, guys, I'm going to work, and then dun, 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 dun.
Well, you grab the udders and you squeeze the shampoo out.
Yeah, you just come home just so soapy and shit. You're like, that was another day at work. Jack, what do you do there? It's like, I don't know. I'm supposed to sample the products. Like, I just, each bottle that comes out, I just squeeze a little bit, make sure it's good to go, and lather my hair. They're like, oh,
I mean, no, okay, so
this is me laughing at my own shit again.
No, it's all good.
Because in my brain, I'm like picturing this entire like cutaway bit from Family Guy. Just the most ridiculous.
Like, I know when you mean.
Yeah. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. No, it was just like a shampoo factory my buddy's parents set up in a storage unit, and we would just mix the shampoo together. Basically, what we would do is different salons in BC would have their own proprietary shampoo, and they'd be like, we made this shampoo in our facility, but really they would just send in an order to us, tell us the ingredients, and we'd make it. Shampoo is just shea butter with perfume on it for the most part, some soap.
Yeah.
If I recall, this was like 15 years ago, if I recall correctly. Like, most of them are not really that different, or like the stuff you'll get at a salon, if they wash your hair, it's not like engineered to be the most.
I fucking never really even understood what was in it. Now that you explain it, yeah, like, but does the shea butter essentially nourishes the hair?
Yeah,
and then like, what at the end of the day, what's washing it is still like the water.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, and like there should be a bit of soap in there, and then there's a lot of powders and other stuff that just makes it superficially seem like it's different from the other shampoo. Like, oh, this smells like peaches.
Yeah,
it's the same shit.
Yeah, how the fuck? Yeah, like how does man? Yeah, this is so random now.
It's all good.
I was like, how does the shampoo actually like when everyone's like, oh, I have dandruff, and then I better use this dandruff shampoo, and then it's like the dandruff, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like your scalp's just so dry that it's a little bit of skin flake.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, it's probably getting dry because you're like putting all that fucking shit in your head. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So maybe let your hair get more oily again, and you won't get this dry scalp. I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny when I was like, yeah, you're getting dandruff, but you're reusing the thing that's causing the dandruff.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Like, of my friends I know, like, some of them just don't get dandruff, and some like, I don't really get a lot of dandruff. I did when I was younger, but I know some friends, like, their shoulders just look like it's snowing wherever they go. Like, they can shower and then 5 minutes later.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Everyone's body's just so fucking different. They have different hygienic needs, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, I think gingers might get more dandruff, but don't quote me on that, guys.
I had a ginger joke and I lost it. Sorry about the direction.
That's good.
I was trying to aim to like your bio, origin story, kind of like the way I've done with all the comedians.
Yeah,
and then we just went off on Star Trek.
No, it's all good. I'm totally.
Oh fuck. Okay. Anyway, So right now, what are your goals right now with your comedy and your law school, like law? Like, is comedy something you want to keep doing, or is that hobby, like just as a hobby?
It's like the boundary between a hobby and a thing you're serious about is kind of like, it's hard to nail down. So I don't consider it a hobby. I care a lot about it. It makes, like, if I didn't do it, my life would have a lot less meaning. I love my career. I love doing tax law, and I want to get into tech law too. And I do family law. Like, I like that a lot. I'm happy where I am, but comedy is, I mean, they just scratch two totally different itches.
Yeah.
Like if I were to get famous off of comedy, that would be ideal, but you can't. I'm just gonna, if I don't, I'll just be happy grinding it out, just going to shows.
Okay. So like, it's almost like, oh my throat was dry there.
Oh, good.
It's almost like like someone who plays rec hockey or something like that. Like, there's some people that do comedy in that approach.
Yeah.
But you're not, like, you're saying, like, deep down, like you're honing this craft as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. Like, cause you run the potion room sometimes, right?
Oh yeah. No, I always.
Oh wait. Oh, cause that's you now running it all.
Yeah. It's Cauldron Comedy at the Potion Room Tuesdays at 7:30.
Yeah. No. So yeah, you're producing the comedy show, The Potion Room.
Yeah.
You're the main guy there.
Yeah. With the help of Frank Russo.
Okay. See, that's where I get confused. Cause like, I know Frank also, like, I was driving drinks with Frank yesterday. Like, he also runs the Reckless Comedy at the Dirty Duck, right?
Ryan runs that too. Like, he's been doing this for a lot longer than I have, or Ryan has. So I'm kind of like his understudy. I'm just learning how to do everything. And I've already learned a lot so far. Like, hosting a show, there are good days and bad. Some days you get lots of people and the atmosphere is just amazing. Other days it's slower.
Yeah.
But that's all part of the process, and it's I think comedy.
Well, Rogan said it takes 10 years to begin to get good. So like he literally said, like, whoever's doing comedy, the reality is, like, you think you're getting good, but they all say after doing it for 10 years consistently, like 3 to 4 times a week, almost all year round, he's like, and trying different jokes, writing all the time. He literally said he still felt like once he hit the 10-year mark, he like actually leveled into like, oh, like, that's how you actually do this. And, like, as in the, like, control your cadence and everything, and like see fun humor everywhere, like, better. And like, and I don't know, that's what he said, because like Rogan, like, he talks all the time about, man, there's so many newbies coming into the game, and like, he respects everyone who gives it a shot. But Rogan was saying, it's like, but the reality is, like, we'll probably have to wait a good 10 years to see who like took it to the point where they're a professional. Like, I'm not saying you guys aren't professionals, because you guys are doing the thing.
I know what you mean, though.
Like, be able to, like, make a living, like, fully from it.
I'm not about to sell out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so sorry. Winding this down here. What's your goals then with your comedy and your law career here?
Well, law career, the goal is to just keep scaling up, more clients, more complex files, more interesting work. And it's like comedy in a lot of ways. It's just one of these things where you just want everything now, but you just have to be patient. You have to be consistent. Same with exercise: patience, consistency, dedication. So a lot of it is just the mental health part of just learning to enjoy where you're at and know that you're going to get what you want eventually. Maybe not Madison Square Garden, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you just have to enjoy the journey and not be frustrated that you're not there yet, because if you are, then you're going to enjoy, like, the last 10 years of your life or whatever, and you're going to miss all this great stuff along the way. Right.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like the dedication, the consistency, and just, like, learning to be happy when things aren't totally all together yet.
Yeah. It's basically patience.
Yeah.
Be patient.
Patience is a virtue.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like that too. I mean, it's like, obviously I want to have numerous CAX bars, like, everywhere, but for now it's like, one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. All right, cool. And then the comedy, again, just continue to grow, run the Potion Room in the foreseeable future. And
I've got a couple of podcasts kind of on the go.
Yeah,
yeah, like with comedy, it's just the main thing is getting. I just want to be as good as I can get. I don't. It doesn't. I don't need to get rich off this. If that happened, that would be great. But that's not my goal. Like, I'm not insane.
Right.
I just want to get good at this. I want to make people laugh. I want to develop my own style. Right now, I kind of have a style, and it's just laughing at fitness influencers for dying in dumb ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to just come into my own and do something that I'll be proud of later in life.
Yeah. Before we go here, what do you mean by laughing at fitness influencers die in a dumb way? Like,
okay,
like,
well,
go. Yeah.
Okay. And you can just tell me when to shut, because I could go for years on this. Okay. You ever watch More Plates, More Dates?
Oh yeah.
YouTube channel?
Oh yeah. I watch that all the time. Derek's fucking hilarious.
I love Derek.
Yeah.
He's such an interesting character though, because it's the two things. It's like the fitness, like unabashedly pro steroid fitness content, and then it's like the pickup artist stuff.
Yeah.
But he brings the same kind of like autistic dedication that he has for the fitness stuff to the pickup artist. And I'm not.
Does he even do much pickup artist stuff anymore? Like, I know back in the day he did a bunch, but
yeah, I think he still does videos, but it's just so analytical. It's like if Isaac Newton was teaching you how to meet girls. It is like they're like how to cycle your cologne every month, because God forbid like a girl smells the same cologne on you at the club. And like,
okay, maybe I don't watch him as much as I think I do, because like I followed his training stuff. Like I'm huge into his natty or not stuff.
No one's going to admit to watching the other stuff.
Oh, no,
man. Not on recording.
I know they exist, because I mean, back in the day, I remember watching one about him talking about the ideal height has been proven that it's 6'2" or some shit, or like you said, you're 6'3".
Yeah.
So I guess you're like even better, but apparently I don't know. So and then Derek's like, how to get to 6'2", and it does all these tricks of like shoe, like whatever, basically male platform enhancers that fit the best into like dress shoes and whatever. And then he talks about like wear this, like your hair like this, and like this will increase illusions of height, and like,
and if you're losing your hair, put an insole under your toupee so you look like you have hair and you're taller.
He had a huge hair loss content thing.
Oh yeah,
because he's huge into that. Yeah, but anyway, sorry, we got off track about Derek again. But he, sorry, before, I just want to point out like his monotone talking style is always unique to me.
Yeah,
because he talks with this kind of like, well, duh, like you didn't know that kind of. And I thought, I was like, at first I remember thinking, I was like, man, this guy's kind of cocky, right? And, but then when I watched him talk the exact same way on Rogan, I was like, oh, it's just the way he talks.
Yeah.
He has that sarcastic, like, like kind of like chorus, it would be like that, right? Like, like you kind of know what I'm saying. He has a talking down to you kind of cadence.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, he just knows so much about steroids and getting laid that he's just at a level above all of us. Have you ever heard his videos about his like weird steroid stories? Like, I think he had a giant like blood blister in class, and he popped it, and it's just like, psh.
Yeah, I did hear that. He's into every sort of drug though, because Derek's big into like you can tell when he's on certain medication when he's like filming, because he's talking a little faster, a little more dialed in. Like he's like, like he's just a chemist in a way, like an unofficial chemist.
Well, the thing about this is like he's alive. I don't know how old he is, but he's still alive, and that's impressive to me, because these guys usually like fitness influencers. I don't know. I don't
Boston Lloyd. You heard of him?
But no.
Oh, you haven't heard of Boston? Oh, I'm surprised you haven't heard of Boston Lloyd.
Do tell.
Yeah, so Boston Lloyd was, you heard of Rich Piana?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Boston Lloyd was like a mini Rich Piana, is the simplest way. He was not mini by size, because he is way smaller than Rich. Rich is fucking huge, but Boston's probably 6 feet, and he's probably whatever it was, like 240. But he was on gear once since he was like 15 or so, or 16, and he did
the right age.
He did every he went hard with the gear, and he was one of the first YouTubers to like be injecting himself. That his videos got pulled down, and then his Instagram's gotten deleted and reinstated. And he started selling his own merch and everything. His nickname was Big Daddy 3 C's, like 3 C's the needle. Anyway, Boston Lloyd, he was competing, but then he stopped because to focus on social media influencing stuff, and he made a bunch of money off of his what do you call it, like his fitness. Oh my god, my brain is fried right now. Like when you book someone to teach you how to do fitness.
Oh, personal training. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's online. It's online like consulting stuff. And he had a kid with his a wife in Boston. But anyway, Boston's dead.
Yeah.
And yeah, he died at 28, I believe. Or he might have. Yeah, I think it was 28. Yeah, just he was complaining about kidney issues, and then like, but it was just he just did so much steroids, man.
Well,
like,
that's
he never stopped. He blasted and cruised until he died. So it looks like the lifespan is actually like, because he did it all and he documented it. So I think the lifespan of that kind of hardcore gear use is like 13 years. That's it sounds like.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's why, like, the evil part of me finds this so funny, because why would someone do this?
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, my favorite fitness influencer that died was this guy called Greg Plitt. One of my bits is about it.
Yeah.
He got hit by he got hit by a train when he was filming an energy drink commercial. Like, what better way to go is there?
Yeah, I know who Greg Plitt is, and like that was a while ago. It was like 8 years ago or something, right?
Like, his name literally sounds like a man getting hit by a train.
I mean, come on. Oh, sorry, Greg Plitt.
Sorry, Greg Plitt. We love you, man.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Greg Plitt. Yeah, I thought that was ironic because, yeah, you're right. He was posing in front of the train apparently, like they're trying to do a photo shoot, and then. But what I don't get is, can't you see the train coming? Like, or was he so arrogant that he was trying to get a shot of the train behind and he's like, I'll just jump off?
Yeah, probably.
Oh my god, fuck, dude. Like, did his foot get stuck or something?
I think so when he tripped.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you sure? Maybe he was, or was he trying to commit suicide?
No, I think there might have been footage on YouTube. I'd never watched that.
Oh,
it's too horrifying. But
wait, you think it's still up there?
I read a bunch of articles about it, and one of them said that you can still find when I looked it up,
so the person filming it's like, let's publish this after. That's crazy.
Or it got into the hands of someone who did.
Okay. Yeah, Rich Piana's death was kind of sad though.
It was.
Yeah, because he I don't know, like, I loved his content, and I mean, I never want to look like him. Like, I mean, and I'm into working out, but but it's pretty sad. Like, he basically, everyone's like, oh, you died of steroids. No, like, that guy had an opioid problem.
Yeah.
At the end, that was what killed him, man.
Yeah.
And being that huge also didn't help, like, because he was just carrying so much size all the time. But Rich did juice for way longer than Boston, and he survived till he was like 40, whatever he was, 46, 47. Yeah.
It's all those 11-hour arm workouts.
Yeah. Sorry. What a fitness influencer death makes you laugh for some reason?
Oh God. Well, there's a guy called Leo in longevity. He died at 37.
Yeah. Leo went crazy. Yeah. Dude, I think we watched a lot of the same shit. Sounds like on our feed. Well, yeah. Leo longevity was hanging out with Tony Huge, living with Tony Huge out in Thailand, and then according to Tony, because I listened to Tony's like content about what happened to Leo. He said the coming days, like, Leo went crazy. Like, yeah. So did he commit suicide, or like, how did he?
I think he OD'd on something.
He OD'd, yeah.
Yeah, he was on something. I don't think it was not painkiller, like some kind of stimulant.
Was it? What do you mean, coke?
Maybe.
Really?
I'm not sure. Like, I don't want to speculate about his death.
Yeah.
Like, you guys can
look
up what it was.
Yeah, it was also happened in Thailand, so it's hard to report it back properly, like what went down.
Yeah, like, it's sad. He seemed like a really nice guy. I'm surprised he was buddies with Tony Huge, considering what I've heard about him.
Tony Huge he's a character and a half. Like, I really wish one day he's on Rogan's podcast, man. That'd be dope. But he can't really come back to the States, from what I understand, right?
Oh, because of the SARMs shit? Or
I don't know. Tony Huge used to be a lawyer like you.
Oh, yeah.
So he's I remember there's some footage of him on the internet. What's it called? Where he was the cops had to interrogate him, and I think it's because I think it had to do with whether or not he was considered like a steroid dealer. But Tony Huge was so knowledgeable about law that he calmly, like, on the footage, he was like, he's like, Fifth Amendment for that one. They asked him another question. He's like, that one I don't legally have to answer under this statutory clause or whatever. And then they came with this one. He's like, nope. He's like, my alibi, I was at this location at this time. Therefore, this part of the accusation has lost its merit. Like he was just like outdoing the investigators to the point where they just stopped it. They're like, okay, Tony. He's like, yep. And then shortly after that happened, he moved all of his business to like look, again, don't quote me on exactly the sequence of events, but the gist of it was like, I know he's purposely doesn't come back to the States.
Yeah.
But he loves Thailand apparently anyway, because apparently he loves like Thai chicks, and because he has like 5 Thai chicks living with him. That's his whole lifestyle, man. He has like, and he has kids with them. He has a bunch of babies and stuff, and but fire off one more, and then we'll kind of wind this down.
Oh, I'm just trying to think. Actually, not a fitness influencer, but there's a documentary you need to see.
Yeah,
called West Side versus the World.
About West Side Barbell versus the World. Yeah, I've seen that too.
You have?
Yeah.
The guy that
Louis Simmons.
That was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life, because it's just like the dumbest thing you could ever do to yourself.
What do you mean?
Well, like, there's a dude in this. You guys need to watch. I don't know if we can address the audio.
Oh yeah.
You need to watch West Side versus the World. If any of what we're talking about right now resonates with you, this movie is amazing.
Yeah.
There's one of the guys in that gym. Like, he had to get his kidney replaced because he lifted so much weight.
Oh man, I remember. You should listen to him when he was on Rogan.
He was on Rogan?
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, I know.
Actually, it was one of the few podcasts Rogan went to West Side. So Rogan filmed it out of his warehouse in the back. And because Louis, it's Louis Simmons, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
Like Louis is such a character. Like, and he actually had no idea who Joe really was. It was funny. But Joe was this podcast. I might even re-listen to it later today again. It was such a good one because like Louis just explains his whole philosophy because the way he views the world is, you're like, holy shit, like if that's the way you operate on a day-to-day basis, I'm like, that's fucking cool. Like, like he's just I don't know, he just has like his own perspectives on shit, and he's so different, you know what I mean? Like but at the end of the day, that guy, he revealed too, he's like, I've been on steroids for like 50 something years. And then Rogan's like, oh, okay, like with breaks. He's like, nope. And he's like, what do you mean nope? He's like, I've never come off. He's like, Rogan's like, what do you mean you've never come off? And he's like, I've never come off. I've always been on. Like I've been injecting weekly or bi-weekly or whatever for 50 straight years. Then Rogan's like, what about, the side effects of estrogen or whatever? And then I forget what Louis said. I think he's just a unique phenomenon. He's like, no, I don't even take any post-cycle therapy because I don't have a post-cycle. I'm always on. Like, and then Rogan's just kept asking him, like, you mean like, because he was trying to like get more details. Like, is it just the testosterone, or like apparently he's like, yeah, like testosterone's the foundation, but I'll pop some other shit. And I'm pretty sure he takes some kind of estrogen blocker, because you can't have elevated testosterone like that all the time without your estrogen kind of starting.
And then the gynecomastia kicking in.
But Louis died. No, Louis died. Oh, yeah. He's 74 and he passed away. But he didn't look great by the time Rogan interviewed him, because he has 2 fake shoulders and 2, like, I think his elbows are fake and his hips are fake, because he's a power lifter.
Yeah.
So all he did was deadlift, squat, and bench, the 3 power moves. And but it got to the point where he just destroyed his own joints and everything like that. But he still lifted like the way he could, towards the end. But his main thing was was owning West Side Barbell. But it's a great podcast. And he just didn't even know who Joe was, because he's like Joe's like, Louis, welcome to the show. And Louis like, good to be on, Jim. It was something like Rogan didn't even correct it. But
I just remember one of those guys, his knee like exploded during a lift. Then he goes and gets knee surgery, sews it back up. Second he gets out of hospital, it goes and does it again. Like, it's the greatest movie ever made.
And let me guess, his knee exploded again.
No, I think it was okay, actually, which is just...
Fuck, man.
There's one guy who's like, yeah, we all took 20 years off our life to do this, but, it was worth it. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Well, oh, man, now we're like... Yeah,
sorry, I'm dragging this on.
Oh, no, it's all good. Well, Mark Bell, Mark Bell and Chris Bell, like Mark Bell, like yeah, he used to come from West Side Barbell. Yeah,
Hmm.
like yeah, and then I think yeah, if I'm not mistaken, like he cut his teeth in lifting over there at some point, but then him and Louis had some issue, and yeah, and then he left the gym. But Mark Bell actually got super successful doing his own thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his gym called in California? Is it called Super Training Center? Something goofy. Is this like called Super Training Center Gym or something like that? Huh, I don't know.
Do you follow Mike O'Hearn? $600 duck eggs.
I didn't follow that one, but I just know everyone calls him Mike O'Tren or whatever because he claims to be natural, but like there's high probability that he's not.
That guy wanted to be Henry Cavill so bad. No, Schwarzenegger so bad his entire life.
Yeah. His physique though is fucking
amazing,
it is, dude. And he's like he's 55 or some shit, right? Like no, Mike O'Hearn's old. Like he's not young at all. I don't know, dude. This dragging on here.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Jack Hoskins, everyone.
Jack Hoskins, comedian, lawyer, guy who laughs at dead bodybuilders.